this message in the presence of God, what I'm talking about this morning, in His presence. And I'm going to go back to the Old Testament, and I'm going to share some things with you about in His presence. And I'm going to ask myself a question in Hebrews. I'll read the scripture to you, and I'm going to go back and ask you what I asked myself. And indeed, even the first covenant had ordinances, okay, of divine service. And the earthly sanctuary for the tabernacle was prepared for the first part, in which was a lampstand, a table of showbread, which was called the sanctuary. It was talking about the tabernacle, the little tabernacle in the wilderness. But here's the part I want to give right here for this part. And behind the second veil, okay, the second veil, the part of the tabernacle which was called the holiest of all, in which a golden censer and the ark of the commandments, put it the other way, overlaid, Ark of the Covenant, overlaid on all sides with wood, in which were golden pots, in which had and manna, Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenants. In other words, the Ten Commandments. And above it was the cherubims, the glory overshadowed the mercy seat, in which we cannot now speak in detail. Wow. Talks about this in detail. He said, I'm not going to speak this. We're talking about the inner sanctuary. We're talking about where the presence of God dwelled. And they only entered into this place one time a year, the priesthood. And it said in there, but what's set in the presence of God? That I asked myself. I said, what was there? And why was it there? I said, you place these places, they're reminders to supposedly the man, but they're now out of man's eyesight. They're not seeing these every day. One time a year somebody walks in, so they're really not a reminder of mankind because they know what's back there, but they're really not seeing it every day. You remind somebody, you want to put something out, you stick your sticky note on the refrigerator, and you see it every day. You write it on your calendar, you see it, a reminder. So these things are hidden away at the holiest of all. And I believe I'm going to reveal to you the shadow of things to come. And the sanctuary, what it was, the tabernacle in the wilderness, was a shadow of what was already in heaven also. It was kind of a shadow of what and how worship took place, and I'll show you that here in a little while. But we had three things I want to look at. We had a golden pot of manna, we had Aaron's rod that budded, and we had the table of the covenant, which were the tablets of the covenant, 10 Commandments. They all sat in the Holy of Holies, and they sat in this place. This was a place of honor. All right, it was placed away from the presence of God. I think, was it there to remind God what He was? I'm going to start off with a little bit about the first part, the Ten Commandments. See, some of you sitting here think the Ten Commandments are a set of rules and regulations, and you view life as being, well, we're not past the Ten Commandments, we're now under grace. And Jesus said, I didn't come to change one tittle of the law. You don't view the Ten Commandments the way they're about a better life. Yes. They're about living a high-quality life in this life to come. They're laid out not for rules and regulations. They're like, as God said, I want you to live the best life that you can live. And I'm going to lay these commandments down to you, and this is going to require you to run these things. So they were sitting in the presence of God because He desires us to live the best life we can. I'm going to look at a few of them here. I want to just cover your thinking. You know, you struggle with your thought process. I struggle with my thought process every week. I'll have thoughts come to my mind. You think, and your thoughts get you in trouble. Your thought, well, as a man thinks, that's what he does, and that's what he is. As a man, what a man thinks about, that's what he ends up doing. So as you think, as a man thinks, that's what he becomes. So I want to look at this one for a moment, the Ten Commandments. The first one is man. Your thoughts between you and God. The second commandment, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. You're going to fear God. In other words, I'm going to have a good, healthy fear of Him. I'm not going to put anything before Him. My thought process is, He's first to my mind, He's first to my heart, He's first to my thoughts. I'm not going to have any other gods before Him. He's number one in my life. You have to think that. If you don't think it, you're not going to live it. If it's something else is more important to you in your mind, it's going to take priority. Look around. It comes to the fact, the reason why we have so many people out shopping, partying, and doing what they're doing, their priorities are self. We live in a selfish generation. And there's more, they take the kids we got growing up now with the cameras and the phones, they take more pictures of themselves, they admire themselves, they look at themselves, and your job is to make me happy and satisfy me. Total opposite of the gospel. Total opposite of the way you can live a good life. It's the devil's boy thing, they're clocked. They're in nothing but, they're in some serious trouble. Because their thought process is about themselves, but actually it should be about God. And number 5, the thought process about between you and your family, between humans and their families. Number 5, honor your father and your mother. We lack authority. We come against authority in every way, shape, and form. We don't honor our father and mother, more or less honor anybody else. If a person's of authority, we look down upon them, we ridicule them, and God placed them there in that spot. I'll share a little bit more about that later. But here, we're supposed to honor, our thought process is supposed to be honoring those who sit over us. You know, and I really have a hard time not speaking evil of the government, but he said, don't do that. I tell you, that would always have to repent. So speak evil of those things, things I've said over you. Your thought process between us and honoring those in authority over us. I honor Janet, she's over me. We voted her in as pastors, put her over, we put her over us in authority. I mean, she has authorities over her and there's authorities over them. And we honor those people over us and they tell us something, we're going to do it. We honor our parents, our mother, father. Some of us are difficult at doing that. Because, they don't deserve your respect or your honor from one that they didn't like, but yet you don't dishonor. Okay? Let's go that far with that. Your thought process between you and human, thou shalt not covet. In other words, my thought process is you got what I want. And I think that, and I desire what you have. That's coveting. That's lusting after what you have. And my thought process is constantly thinking about what I don't have, what I desire. I'm going to covet what other people have and the way they live. I can drive down the street in some of the fanciest neighborhoods and see those beautiful homes, and I can covet after that. And that's my thought process. I desire what they have, and I'm going to end up doing something out and I do it acting way. My life is going to be driven by what I think I want. You see what I'm saying? Or I'm going to covet what you have and I'm going to take it from you. That's where thievery comes in. That's where stealing comes in, because I'll just take what you got. Because I want it. That starts as a little kid. The kid's got the toy over there that you wanted, and so you just go over there and you take it away from them. And you go steal it and take it. And that's all about covenant. It's a desire. So our thought process covers that. So you got the first one is, look at this. Your first one is your thoughts towards you and God. Your thoughts towards honor and authority. Your next one is your covetous thoughts. Your thoughts in your mind, what you covet, what you desire. It comes all the way from sexual, all the way down to just physical. It covers it all. Thought process does. And that's the reason why you struggle with this life, because you're looking at what you don't have and not what you do got. What do you mean, Pastor? People look at what they don't have and what they desire and don't realize what they have. They covet what they don't have and not covet what they've got. And then they'll never find peace until they do that. And Jesus put it this way. He laid it out to them. He said, being content in what you have. Be content right where you're at. Being content in the presence of God. Being content in Him and His righteousness. You seek after Him and He'll add all those things that you need in your life to you. But until you're content, you're always going to go after it instead of God. You're going to have to always go after what you don't have instead of God. You'll never find contentment. Your thoughts will always be driven. You'll always be frustrated and aggravated. We're going to get into more of that here in a minute too. Speech. Man and God. Third covenant, thou shalt not take the Lord God's name in vain. In other words, I'm not going to flippantly blaspheme God. I'm not going to say evil things. I'm not going to, goodness, you can't turn the TV on without somebody using God's name in vain. A TV show anymore. They're constantly doing it. And flippantly, I'm not going to take His name in God. Why? Because He's first in my life and I respect and I honor Him. I want to value Him. You know what? And here's the thing. The name of Jesus Christ is the most powerful words in the human vocabulary. And they'll let you talk about God all day long, but you start saying Jesus Christ, it rises up something within them, and they can't stand that name because why? It's authority and it's power.
Amen.
And people, oh man, you stir up the devil real quick when you start throwing that name around. God with them is all. So I'm going to take Jesus' name and I'm going to cherish it because it is a tool and it's a powerful tool that God gives us to use. Between your father, the sixth commandment, thou shalt not murder. This is your relationship between you and your home. You know, some of you may not know this. The only reason why I know this is because I watched enough of this ID show with my wife to understand this now. Kendall. He says something on there that's really interesting. I've learned a lot from this man about human nature. This Kendall, if you ever watch it on ID, he's actually worth watching because he goes into human nature, why people do what they do. And I realized I learned something off this. He said most murders and most hatred and most things come from family on family. Why? Because of the words we speak. The words we use with one another. We get mad, aggravated, and frustrated with one another, and we end up speaking out words towards that other brother that stirs up something with them and stirs strife with them. It's not generally with a stranger. Most murders and most hatred comes from family members. Most of your problems. Are you with me? Because this is where it takes place, that it becomes with the words you speak, the authority you give the enemy, with the words you say. Because you give account for every idle word that comes out of your mouth. You're a Christian, you're filled with the Holy Ghost. Every word I say has a great amount of authority and power with it. I can destroy with it, or I can create with my words. They're that powerful. I can build you up, or I can tear you down. I can raise up the gospel, or I can tear it down. My words carry authority and carry power with them. And if my family, I let strife stir up in my family, and I speak words, I can set the course of nature. I can set the whole thing on fire, and I can have even it goes down to murder and hatred. Jesus put it this way: He said, you don't have to kill them. Just hate them in your heart. You've already murdered them. Wow. So He didn't do away with it. He came to fulfill it. The last one here, we got the 9th commandment says this about your speech: thou shalt not bear false witness. Everybody here is guilty. I'll tell you right now. Anytime you heard somebody say something about somebody else, and you don't know it firsthand, and you repeated it, it's false witness, because I guarantee it's changed. Don't repeat anything you hear on the news, because it's probably a lie. Can I tell you that right now? It's probably twisted, it's probably warped, and it's got an agenda to it, so I don't want to repeat what I hear on the news. Just forget that. Throw it in the trash. Only say what you're going to say that you know for a truth. And why even say it if it's not good? And I have to preach that to myself. I often. Why even say it if it ain't good? Because every once in a while, it's so easy to speak evil. It's so easy to tear somebody up that doesn't agree with you or coming against the way you think. It's so easy to let those words just flow out of your mouth. Not even thinking about it. He said, if you want a better quality life, don't bear false witness against other people. Why? Because you're not going to reap that back in yourself. Also, you're going to let God be able to bless your life because why do you not sin against someone else? Why did He say that in prayer? He said, Father, forgive me my trespasses as I forgive those who trespass against me. That's our daily prayer. Why? Because we've opened our mouth and we've trespassed against someone else if we talk about anybody generally. That's how close to sin you are. That's how near it is to you and I. Make that quiet. Think about it a moment. That's how near it is. That's why He said, that's why you pray. Pray that way. So if I want a quality life and I want to live close to God, I'm going to have to watch it. I'm going to have to do it. And when I do mess up, I'll come to God and I say, you know what, God, forgive me my trespasses and forgive those who said things about me. See, every Sunday afternoon, I say, God, forgive them what they said about me, about my sermon over Sunday dinner. No, I'm not messing with you. I don't do that. I say, Pastor gets tore up, you get tore up by other people. You do anything in public, you do anything to anybody, somebody's going to say something about you. And all you have to do is say, God, forgive them their trespasses and forgive me mine, because I'm probably setting things out and I say today either. Actions. 10 Commandments, man and God. 4th covenant, remember the Sabbath day. This day was not meant for God, it was meant for you and I. The Bible teaches us the Sabbath day. Jesus even rattled their Sabbath day by healing people, by pulling grain off vine and doing it. He took away the legalism of the Sabbath day. He said, give it back to God. It's a day of rest that God gave to you. And why He set that up is because they were beaten, they were tortured in Egypt, they were tormented, they were worked to death. He said, set one day aside for yourself and you come to me and worship me. Not a set of rules and regulations. It didn't tell you. We don't even got the right days down. And somebody said, well, it's Saturday, the Sabbath day. And I said, well, wait a minute. Let's go back to the Old Testament. God stopped the sun one day for a battle. Figure that one out. Which day is the Sabbath day now? Okay, that just throws it all off. To me, the Sabbath day, I worked every other weekend. I was just as saved on fire for God as anybody else, and I worked every other Sunday. I set one day aside, and I gave it to God, and whatever that day I was off, I said, this is your day, I want to study, I want to worship you. This is your day, God. This is what I did. And that's what he means. Take a day of rest. Take a day that you dedicate to him. And if you work on Sundays, you take a day and you make it his. You can get around it. God understands. He put you in that job. He gave it to you. Human family. Seventh covenant. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Wow. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Hurts family, hurts you, hurts us. And it said, when Jesus believed and drew it up that. If you look upon a woman lust after you commit adultery in your heart. In other words, if you're looking and desiring something more than what you have. In other words, you're coveting because why you're not satisfied where you're at. Don't just be selfish, and we're selfish. I want somebody else to satisfy my needs. I want somebody else to make me feel good about myself. That's the reason why this always happens. Somebody else makes me feel good about me. My partner's not doing that. If a man doesn't speak to his wife, if he doesn't take care of her, doesn't sit down with her and communicate with her, doesn't meet her needs in that area, she'll go find some other place and she'll look for somebody else to do that for her. If a man, if a woman doesn't do what he's supposed to with his meet her husband's need, he might go looking somewhere else. Why? Because he has something that's not fulfilled in his life. And also, why does this all take place? Because we're selfish. Does it preach a little hard? Because we're self-centered, self-seeking. We're not willing to give of ourselves to somebody else. We want somebody else to give to us. So every one of us struggle with this. You know, well, what about me? Is me and mine? No, every person in here struggles with this some way, shape, and form. Every one of you have a struggle in your own battle in this area. Some way. And this battle is the reason why, because we're selfish. We act selfish. We think selfish. Dying to oneself. And taking every cross and dying daily is what it said. Dying to myself and my own desires and my own lust and what I want is the key to being a strong Christian. Putting others before yourself. Making others happy. Wow, it's hard preaching. Nobody wants to hear this. You're talking about self. I'm talking about in the presence of God. That's what I'm talking about. You want to get there. You want to live there. That's the place you want to be. It requires a little more than just believing. Human to human action. Eighth commandment. Thou shalt not steal. Another selfish act. In other words, I want to take, I've coveted again, I've desired, I want to take from you what you have. I want to steal your possessions. What you have is yours, is mine now. Wow. All these commandments that he laid out. He laid every single one of them out. So why? That if you don't do these things, I can bless your life and you can have a more abundant life yourself. You won't be in conflict with people. But you'll end up loving them because one, Jesus says this is the commandment. He said, this is this way. The new commandment I give you is what he said in John 13. That you love one another as I've loved you. That you also love one another. But this, all will know, by this, all will know that you are my disciples, that you have love for one another. Here he has a group of 12 men. Some of them Zealots. Some of them worked for the Jews, some of them for the Romans. And let me tell you something. I got news for you. The Zealots hated Romans and hated those tax collectors. So Jesus has got a handful of people on his hand. He's got a dozen men here. He's got a couple of Zealots. He's got a tax collector. So he's got some people in here that really in natural guys would hate one another. Yeah. He had a mess. He had men that wanted to be exalted over the other one. I want to be the leader. I want to be the greatest of all. I want to use the power of God more than you. What was their attitude? I want to be the leader of this group when he's gone. I want to be the one right hand to the Father. I want Jesus in heaven. You got all this stuff going on. All this conflict in these 12 men going on at the same time. He said, you know what, guys? You got all this going on. He said, this is how you're going to know that you're right, because you love one another. You You tolerate another one, or you put somebody else before yourself. That's how you're going to walk in me. That's how you're going to walk in the power of God. You that desire the power of God, it has to come to this place. You choose your brother before yourself. You lay your life down, and you don't sin because why? Because you desire to walk in His presence and be in His presence. Because those commandments can stand in the presence of God, couldn't they? I tell you, it took powerful. No, I'll get ahead of myself because I'm getting there. I'll wrap this up and you'll understand it all when I get there. So, you're walking in the presence of God. So these commandments can stay there 24/7. There was nothing wrong with them. So we got a golden pot of manna sitting there. This is the one that really gets interesting to me because I really looked at this and I thought, this is about provision, ain't it? No, it's not. I'll tell you right quick. This is about people that complain and murmur. This is about God's provision to those who do complain and murmur. What do you mean? Well, yeah, God loves you. You complain and murmur, you gripe, but God loves you. But I'm going to show you what the provision you get. Look at the scripture real carefully here. In Exodus 16, we see the Israelites begin to complain and murmur. They didn't have any food. They didn't have enough to eat. So they began to gripe. They came against Moses, God, and all the rest of them, which they naturally did a lot of that. Claiming against the leadership that God gave them. Gripe and murmur. So what did God do? He said He rained manna down. He said, I'm going to tell you this is the way this manna deal is going to work. You're going to have to work to get it because it's going to come in little bitty wafers. You're going to have to reach down and pick this stuff off the ground and pluck it. I mean, it's going to take you a period of time, but you're only going to take what you need for that day and no more. That's all you're getting. I'm not going to give you any extra. You can't work extra hard that morning and store any back up. You know what? They did it anyway. Now, you tell people, don't do that. But sure enough, they're going to do it. So they went and stacked you some more. An omer was 2.3 quarts. That's what you got to eat a day. About 2.3 quarts of ice cream sounds pretty good. Hey, I go for that. He said it was like little honey wafers and stuff. I'd just take ice cream out for my diet. That'd be great. I'd go for that. Get tired after a while. Here he goes. He gets these quarts. They gathered up and they said in the sun, if they didn't gather up fast enough and they were lazy and wanted to sleep in, when the sun got hot enough, it would melt it. It was gone. So there you're out for your food today. You got to get your honey out of bed and you got to go to work. Amen. Okay, right there. I'm going to tell you that away. So he gets up and he goes to work and they pick the wafers up off the ground and he said, this is all you get, but you know, they gathered up much. I'm going to gather up extra much so I won't have to go up tomorrow. I can sleep in. I can do my own thing. So I'm just going to put more in there. They put it up and all of a sudden it begins to stink. You get worms in it. It becomes nothing. And God said, I told you not to do that. And all you're getting is what, because you complain, you murmur, you gripe, all you're getting is what you need for that day. That's all I'm going to let you have. He said, now on the day before the Sabbath day, he said, okay, you can gather up double because this day's a day of rest and you're going to honor me in it. And I'm going to give you a day that you don't have to get up and you don't have to go to work. So you honor it. So he let them double up. He let them get extra that day. And lo and behold, it lasted all night long and lasted the next day. But you see, with the murmuring and complaining God, I can watch people, and being a pastor, I watch it all the time. They murmur and complain, and over here, they got just what they need to survive. They're provided for. But over here, they're extra, they ain't no extra money. It's gone. The bag of money is not just got holes in it, it's just sits that and it's going away. Why? Because they're murmuring and complaining. God says, that's all I'm going to give you is what you got. Until you're satisfied with what I give you, until you're satisfied with the life I've given you, I can't give you anymore because you're just going to be dissatisfied with that. Yes. Let's be truthful. Because you will. I know millionaires that ain't happy being a millionaire, they want more millions. They're not satisfied with that. They continue to strive after that. The only dissatisfaction I want to ever see anybody in is not being satisfied how close they are to God. They want to get closer. I want to desire to be closer to you, Lord. I want to desire more of your Spirit. I desire more of you in my life. That's the only dissatisfaction we ought to have. And why? Because we're not content with the presence, the love of God that He's already given us. We seek after more. and more things. We're never content in the God that in what He's given us. The life. We never get there. Seems like we're always discontent. We have an enemy continuing to work that way. We live in a society here in the Western culture where it's all driven. It's driven into us as small children. That, well, you're successful when you get out and get as much as you can. More and more toys, the more the happier you'll be. It's a lie. It's a lie. You're never going to be happy until you can get into the presence of God and you can stand there and stay there. You see, they put that manna there not to remind the people, but they put the manna in there to remind God. The man didn't see it. Manna was set in the presence of God. He couldn't make provision, but He only made just enough provision to provide for them for the day. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they weren't content with what God has already done and what He was doing. You know what? I argue this morning. That's something you need to understand in your own life. You need to say, am I content where I'm at? Am I content with this life that God's given me? And the only thing that you ought to be discontented with is how close you're walking to God. That should be it. You always can be closer. Always can be drawing nearer. The rod, this is where it gets interesting. The rod was against, it's a sign of power, wasn't it? This is the same rod that Aaron used over there to deliver the children of Israel. So some of those plagues were brought down to the rod of Aaron. Not just Moses, but the rod of Aaron also. It took place with his rod. So it was a powerful rod. But what happens here is we have rebellion. I call it the rod of rebellion. So what is that Corinth? There's a man that rises up against Moses and says, we're priests too. We're just as holy as you are. Who gave you have authority over us? Who gave you the power to tell us what we can do and what we can't do? Because we can come to God, we feel His presence, we see His holiness just like you do. We can feel the power of God emanating from this tabernacle just like you. Who gave you the authority over us? We can come to God. That's the same attitude we have today in church. I'll tell you right quick. Same spirit rises up and destroys churches. Who are you, Pastor, to tell me how to live my life? I'm just telling you the Word. If I'm not preaching the Word of God, then you can say that. But if it comes out of here, hey, it's not me, it's Him. He said it. So here he comes. He's coming against God's authority. So he says, okay, I'm going to take 250 of the finest men out here, and we're going to burn incense in front of the tabernacle. We're going to take and put our censers out. Every man's going to burn incense. We're going to make a sweet Savior unto God, and He's going to bless all of us just like He blesses you, and He's going to use us just like He uses you. Wow. So what happens? Corinth gets swallowed up by the earth, make a long story short. The 250 sitting out there burning incense, fire comes out of the tabernacle and devours them, kills them. Whoa. They're gone. All there is little incense burners laying on the ground, 250 of them. They take and they make something out of those. A covering for the something or another I forgot in there. So here we get rebellion. So what does God do? He sets out and He tells them this. He said, I'm going to do this. He said, you take 12 tribes, you take 12 leaders of Israel, and He said, you take their staff and you bring them to me. And put their name on it. You take Aaron's, you put his name on his. And all 12 of you, we're going to bring them all here at one time. We're going to lay them before God, and we're going to see what happens in the morning. So He brings it out. Something extraordinary takes place. It said the rods budded, bloomed. Now let me tell you something a little bit about this real quick. It's tricky. I'm going to share a little story about Leon. He shared it with me on the way. I took Leon to a college event this week. I'm going to share a story he shared with me. I'm not going to tell you all of it. I'm just going to tell you part of it. Because it really rang true what I'm preaching about this morning. Leon's got a teacher at school that's disobeying authority. She's doing something the law says she can't do in the way she's not supposed to do. It's causing him great hardship. Okay? I looked at Leon and said, she's disobeying authority. She's the one that's not submitted to the authority. I said, Leon, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you real quick. You do what she tells you to do. Because if you do not do what she tells you to do, you're going to be in rebellion of authority, and God can't bless you.
Yep.
Okay? Let me tell you how this works. You know, he said, come up. Jesus looked at the disciples and he said, he looked at the people who were around him and he said, don't do what you see the Sadducees and Pharisees do, but you do what they tell you to do. That's what Jesus' own words were. He said, you do what they tell you, because if you don't do what they tell you, you're coming against authority. You got to sit there. Don't do and act the way they're acting, but do what you're told to do, because they are that authority. God can't bless you if you break that authority. You got it? So this is what takes place here. It's right. So God's got to establish His authority in Aaron for the people and say, this is the one you're going to have to hear. He's the one I'm going to make the priest. He's the one that's going to burn incense and come in the presence of God. Well, and this wasn't made up this way. Let me understand this. God didn't desire it to ever be this way. When He brought them out of the children of Israel out of Egypt, He brought them to the mountain. He desired to be a one-on-one relationship with every individual like He has with you and I today. That's the desire of the relationship that He wanted. And people chose to let somebody else stand in God's presence for them. Because why? Because it made them feel unclean and unholy and unrighteous. And they were going to have to clean their act up and act right. And live right. That's the way society is, and most church people are today. Give me a little fire insurance to feel good so I can go out and do what I want to the rest of the week. You don't get that here. You get the truth. It's really going to get hard here in a minute. It gets a little bit different. You see, because something interesting takes place in this rod. He puts his names out there and he comes back. Let's go to Numbers and see what happens. 17. It's giving me a good message. It came to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted, had put forth blooms, and yielded a ripe almond. I looked at ripe almonds. I looked at that and I thought to myself, wow, that's interesting. God, you took a dead branch and you made it alive. And you made it fruitful. I thought, that's what He done to me. I was dead to sin, just like you and I. He took me and He brought me into His presence. And He's made me something He made me produce fruit. He's brought me to a place that I'm alive and that I can bring out blooms, and I can bring out branches, and I can bring out leaves, and I can end up producing fruit. Because if I don't produce fruit, I'm in trouble. So He took me and He put me in His presence. And that's what He does here. He's trying to purge you. Well, let's read the scripture. I just don't want to get ahead of myself. So, we see that this rod produces. Let's go to John 15. Let's read it. Jesus' words again. It's a scripture that's hard to read. Hard to take. This is Jesus speaking. I am the vine. My Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He will take away. Every branch that bears fruit, He will purge, that it may bear more fruit. Wow. You're already clean because of the words which I've spoken to you. Inside. Listen here. Abide in me and I in you. As a branch cannot bear fruit of itself. You can't do it unless you abide in the presence and the Spirit of God. You're not going to be fruitful. You're not going to bear it out unless you abide there. It says. Because you can't do it yourself. Unless you abide in me, the vine neither can unless you abide in me. I messed up. Abide in me and I in you. As a branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branch. You're the dead stick. Alright? God's brought to life. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered. And they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. I can take the last part of that, and I can run with it and tell you they take you and throw you into hell. That's pretty rough. abide in me, and I'm not fruitful. I'm a branch that's out there. He's going to cut it off. It's a dead, dry branch, and he's going to throw it, and it's worthless. What's worthless thrown in the fire. Wow. That's some hard preaching. That's hard to swallow. That's hard to live with. In other words, I'm going to have to live in the presence of God. I'm going to have to be fruitful. I cannot do this on my own. I have to come to Him, and I'm going to live a life in Him and go after Him, and His Spirit might be in me, and that I might be in it, that I might be a fruitful person, that I might bear out fruit. Well, Pastor, what is fruit? I've often struggled with that myself a lot. Is that souls, God? I always thought it was souls. I thought, I got to win souls for your kingdom. That's the only fruit that I'm going to have. That's one of them. That's one of the major ones, but you can't do that on your own. All you can do is sow a seed. He's the one that gives the increase. All you can do is sow the seed. He's the one that ends up giving that. But I can bear out joy. I can do those 10 commandments, and I can walk in love, which is a fruit. I can walk in peace, and have peace with God, because I'm content with where I'm at and what life is, and I'm content in that, and I can bear that out. I can have great joy in my soul, because why? Because I know that I'm in Him, and He's in me, and that everything's all right between me and Him. I can bear that out in myself. Not because I'm in the presence of God, and I know He's in me, and I'm in Him. I'm living the best life I can to get closer to Him. So that's my key. Number one, I go back to the very first one. I say, there is no other God before you. And nothing else is more important than you, and I'm going after you, God. The key to a lot of your life and your struggles is you're not going after God, but you're going after the world still. And that's why you're miserable. Well, I'm just telling you the truth. You're going after the lust and the pleasures of your flesh and the desires. The enemy's told you you're something you're not. He's lying to your head, and you believe the lie. So you're going to go after your own lust, your own desire that you think is supposed to be there, and the enemy's put it in your brain. This is who you are and what you are. There's nothing more than a lie. All you need to be is in Him. 1 Peter says this, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, special people, that you may proclaim the praises of Him who called him out of darkness in His marvelous light. He's called you out of darkness in the marvelous light. Why? That he may make you up from a dead stick to a live stick. How does that sound for you? Basically what it is. I was dead, died to sin, and now I'm alive. I'm alive in Him, and I'm producing fruit in Him. And His presence is the only place you're going to get this. His presence is the only place that you're going to bear out fruit. In His presence is the only place you're going to find joy, you're going to find the peace, and you're going to find the comfort you need when you come into His presence. You want a better life? You get into the Word and let the Word get into you. Yeah, because it's alive. It's a living element. Because if you don't know what I just preached, it was all the Word. That's how I can put this together, because it's alive when it comes out and it touches your heart and it deals with you. It's a living thing. So if you put it in you, and God will call it back to you. I was standing up here this morning, and I said, Holy Spirit, call back all that stuff I studied for the last 25 years. Call some of it back to my remembrance, would you please? Because I'm getting a little forgetful. The greater I get, the more forgetful I get. I said, I'm going to need you to call this back to my remembrance. And boy, he just brings that stuff up when he wants. He brings it up out of my soul. I put it in for all these years, and there's something to come out. If you don't put nothing in, you ain't getting nothing out. And I tell you, some of you go into the bank and you ain't depositing no money. You're trying to get something you ain't got. What do you mean, Pastor? Yeah. You come to God when things get rough and you ain't deposited a lick of prayer, a lick of word, a lick of nothing in the bank, and you're coming to Him and mashing Him to bail you out, and you don't even know what right and wrong is, or up and down. Because you don't know what the Word says about what you're going through. So you don't have nothing to stand on. All you're doing is waving it there and trying to grab on to something that you don't even know what you're trying to grab onto, and so you're miserable. But if you put it in the bank, you put it in here, you know what the Word says, and you've laid out prayers and you've gone after God, when that thing hits you and it comes your direction, you've got something to latch on to and stand on and say, this is it, this is what He says, so that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's just like my mom deal. I couldn't believe that. It went down to 2 hours. God's late, man. I mean, it's on time. But until behold, it's the place you very needed to be. struggling and fighting, clawing, scratching the whole time. God said, hang on here a minute. The answer's coming. Just back off. Just take it easy. You're clawing and scratching the whole time, fighting your way up there trying to get it. Oh, yeah. I'm living it. I can say it up here all day long. I just went through it. Next time around, maybe I'll go a little bit more clawing and scratching. Presents. The last one's the best, the golden censer, and I'll let you go here in a minute. The golden censer is cool. Remember it was in there? I didn't share that with you. But it's the neatest one. Because you know what they did? And once a year is how they come in the presence of God. Once a year, they were taking this slaughtered bull. Once a year, they'd take that blood and they would sprinkle it. They'd take that coals off that and they would put it in their censer. The censer stayed in the Holy of Holies. Put it in there. They would take incense. They would put it upon that censer, and as he walks through this veil in the presence of God, he would be this beautiful fragrance, and this odor would come up, and the bull, the sacrifice, with the fragrance, he would be able to walk into the presence of God, and God wouldn't smell a stench of a sin or the stench of human, because it was covered with the blood. You see, the blood of Jesus Christ, we can walk into that Holy of Holies, and our sin doesn't stink. It's not offensive to him. Why? Because we have the blood of Christ and we are a sweet Savior unto God. I'll show you the scripture that says that. The last one I got. 2 Corinthians 2:5 says that. In scripture it says this. We are to God a fragrance of Christ. So we are to God a fragrance of Christ. When I come to him and I walk into his presence, he doesn't smell my sin. He doesn't smell my struggle. He smells the presence and the sweet Savior of Christ. He smells that and allows me to walk into that his presence, and I can stand before him and make my prayers known. I can stand right before it. I can walk in and out of there anytime I choose to on my knees and going after God. I can go into that room and I can come in and out of it. It's not because I'm righteous or because I'm holy. It's because who my Savior is, and that's Christ. He's my lady. He's the one that I got the sweet smell from, that my odor comes from in between me and God. Now, I might stink if I've been sweating a lot. But that ain't sin. That ain't sin. Because that's gone. Now, here's one for you that like to pray. For you guys. We like to pray. This is the one I really like. Revelations 8:3 and 4. And another angel, having a golden censer, listen to this, came and stood at the altar and was given much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of the saints upon the golden altar which is before the throne. The smoke of the incense and the prayers of the saints ascended before God from the angel's hand. Think about that. Think about that. My prayers. Your prayers, those tears that flow down your eyes when you pray. All that stuff that you put out to God after God. It comes up before God as a sweet, smelling fragrance and comes up before his face. Man, you think your prayers don't matter and don't mean anything? Oh my goodness, they're a sweet odor unto God. He loves when you go out and pray. When you pray with a broken, contrite spirit, I believe that thing comes up with the most beautiful odor you ever seen. An angel stands before it and gives those out. It's a beautiful picture, isn't it? That's what it is. See, we can come into the holies of holies, and even when we're down here in our prayers, they come up before God in a beautiful, beautiful way. Stand with me this morning.